So, do you enjoy drinking a beer? And do you enjoy drinking a beer on holiday? Today, we're talking about the cost of beer in Vietnam.
An Aussie in Vietnam, podcast that gives you everything you need to know about people, places, and culture in Vietnam from fellas that live there. An Aussie in Vietnam.
Ho Chi Minh City, Vũng Tàu,
Da Nang.
Huế, Hà Nội.
Welcome to an Aussie in Vietnam.
Hello and welcome to an Aussie in Vietnam. My name is Ray, as you know, and welcome to Ho Chi Minh City and a stinking hot spring day. As I think I said before, March and April are just the worst months of the year. By the time you get to May, you are over the heat. The hottest days of the year come actually in spring and not summer here in Ho Chi Minh City. So it's very, very hot outside. And when it's hot outside, people enjoy a beer. So when you're traveling here in Vietnam, I'm sure you, like me, who lives here, enjoys a cold beer on a hot day. But you know what? Firstly, I'm going to explain, and then I'm going to have the biggest bitch I've ever had on my podcast. So firstly, question, how much does a beer cost in Vietnam? Well, let's look at the entire structure. Before I talk about Vietnam, I want you to look at your own country. America, England, France, South Africa, wherever you're from, have a look and see what the cost of a beer bought at a takeaway store and a beer at a bar would cost. And usually, in most countries, it's about double the price. So in saying that, let's look at the cost of beer in Vietnam. Now, beer actually just like every other country, beer has this leveling effect according to where you buy it from. So the cheapest beers that you can buy are usually, let's call them street beer and supermarket beer. They are, in Vietnam, we have these little shops that are more or less like the old style convenience store. And in those shops, you can buy all the basics, your chips, your rice, your oil, and also your soft drinks and your beers. They're about the cheapest seller of beer in the country. And let's give or take a little bit. You can probably get a beer from anywhere from about $1, $1.50-ish for a basic beer. And when I say a basic beer, I'm talking about Tiger, Heineken, Saigon beer, 333 beer, Hanoi beer, Huda beer, Castleberg beer, and all those related brands that sit around that general the general brewer market. There is also imported beer and craft beer, but we won't include those in this conversation. So $1 to $1.50 for a street beer, which is usually warm. It's not to be drunk on the street. It's usually to take home, and that is the entry point for a standard can of beer in Vietnam. Taking a step up, supermarkets may charge you that 10 or 20 cents more for a beer, just because they are a big corporation and they have more overhead. So if you go to a shopping mall, go to Co-op Mart, which is like the Woolies or Coles of Vietnam, and you buy a beer in the mall, in the supermarket in the mall, it might cost you an extra, a little bit more. Let's just say a little bit more, extra couple of thousand. Then you've got the convenience stores. Now, the convenience stores will sell you the beer cold, so you can actually drink it straight away. And for the privilege, they might tap on 2,000 or 3,000 Vietnam dong more. So we're looking at, that $1.50-ish, that solid $1.50 range for a cold beer that is a takeaway cold beer that you can buy. And that's the next level, okay? That the refrigerated beer market, but takeaway. Then we've got the local cafe / restaurant, the seafood restaurant, the Lao, the hot pot restaurant, the barbecue restaurant, and things like that. Now, those beers will cost you between 30 and 40,000 a beer. Again, just that little step above the 7-Eleven price, but still pretty good. And the good thing is that you may actually get a little bit cheaper if you get them hot, which quite often they will bring you out the box of beer, put it on the table beside you, and it's all hot and you drink it with ice. More popular in the south than in the north. So again, $1.50-ish, give or take a little bit. Now, there's quite a big jump from there to the next level. The next level is the international bars, Australian bars, Irish bars, English bars, which are very much centred in the main cities and in the tourist locations. For a beer in those locations, you're probably going to pay about double the cost. So, 30 to 40,000 in a restaurant in the suburbs, 60 to 80,000 in a city bar. Why is that? Okay, why is that cost higher? Well, quite simply, a local restaurant in the suburbs doesn't have the real estate overhead costs that a bar in the city has. A bar in the city may have air conditioning. It has wait staff. It has the whole infrastructure. It has TVs, fans, bar stools. It has enormous rents that they have to cover, and you would be surprised at the cost of real estate in, like, for example, District 1, Ho Chi Minh City. And I'm not even going to go try and quote prices, but you would be absolutely surprised at the cost. That has to be covered somehow. So that is why, if you want to go to an international style bar, maybe to watch the football or the soccer, or have a break from eating the traditional Vietnamese food and eat something like a Western meal, you are going to pay more for your beer. But it's $3, $4 maximum. It's still, it's still 25-30% of the cost of a beer in your home city. That is why you spend more, because the infrastructure is better. To go higher than the local bars, you have things like expensive restaurants. You will have girly bars, and you'll have the exclusive rooftop, top quality, high-end bars. And the prices of beer in those locations can go all the way up to $10 or $15 per beer. But again, for example, I happened to walk past, for you Australians, you will know well, Luke Wynn's restaurant in Dom Quay. And I happened to notice that, and I don't remember the actual price, but I happened to notice that the cost of beer in his restaurant was very expensive. But it's Dom Quay, the most expensive street in probably all of Vietnam. So you're going to pay the premium to eat and drink at a premium location. It's quite simple, So this is my gripe to finish it off. So, you come to Vietnam for a holiday, you find, as an Australian, you find an Aussie bar, you go into the Aussie bar, you'll say, look, I'll have a Tiger or a Heineken or whatever's going there on tap, and it's going to cost you, 50 to 80,000 for a glass, whatever that glass is. And let me tell you, the glasses are supplied by the beer company. So the size of the beer is controlled by the beer company, as is most of the pricing. Okay. So most bars will have two options. They'll have a medium-size option and a taller option, which is about the 350 ml and the 600 ml options, I suppose. And today the pricing, we're just talking about that smaller option, the 350 ml. So just drink the bloody beer. Stop whinging about the price. There are infrastructure costs, there are staff costs, there are taxes, there are wages, there are investment costs, there are maintenance costs, there are costs to the beer company. Stop bloody whinging about the price of the beer and just pay it, okay? It is still 25 to 30% of the cost of a beer in your home country. I can't see, and I've seen this so many times, how Westerners, and particularly I'll say my own people, Australians, come to Vietnam and complain that they're paying $1.50 or $3 for a bloody beer. I just don't get it, okay? So please, guys, have some respect and have some appreciation for other countries. Not every country in the world has got to give you bloody free beer. You know, it just really makes me angry. So if you come to Vietnam, expect to pay anything up to $5 for a beer, okay? That is the fact. You want to walk into a bar with, you know, some young female waitresses and the TV showing the NRL or the AFL or the cricket or whatever, you expect to pay for the service. Just pay the bloody money. And if the girls serve you well, or maybe even be a male waiter, who cares? If they serve you well, don't be afraid to give them a bloody tip, and don't treat people like they are crap. You know, these people work for almost nothing to serve you. And here you go, you're on your bloody $200,000 a year in Australia. You come over to Vietnam, and then you expect to get everything for 20 cents. And then you treat the staff like crap. Show some respect, yeah? A friend of mine said to me the other day, I hope Vietnam doesn't become the next Bali. And I said, mate, let me tell you, Vietnam will not become the next Bali. Bali has been ruined by disrespectful, pathetic Australians. That won't happen in Vietnam. So if you've got a comment, you want to have an opposite opinion than me, please put it in the comments of this podcast. I'll be happy to take your comments, because I think Vietnam is a respectful and caring and a pretty decent place, and people can't march into this country thinking they have any rights at all, because you know what? Vietnamese culture is not about having rights, it's about having respect. So you should respect what you experience, respect what you pay for, and comply with what is offered to you. If you don't want to pay the money for the beer, don't drink the beer, leave the bar, go and sit on the street and drink a hot beer like someone who wants to pay $1 for a beer. When you sit on the street corner and drink a beer, then you realise what value you're getting out of that $3 beer. That's all I've got to say. I'm Ray. I'm in Ho Chi Minh City. Welcome to an Aussie in Vietnam, and see you again next time. Bye-bye.